Now to today's headliner, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Jim Jordan, joins us now. Congressman, good morning to you.
You bet. Good to be with you guys.
You make the case in a piece published this morning that Democrats are misusing their authority. What do you make of the back and forth and the escalating situation?
No, I mean, look, the Democrats are trying to impeach the President of the United States based on an anonymous whistleblower 13 months before an election, an anonymous whistleblower who has no firsthand knowledge and has a bias against the President. And the guy who's running the process, Adam Schiff, didn't tell us that his staff had met with the whistleblower prior to the whistleblower filing the complaint. Adam Schiff, who did his, quote, parody at the start of the hearing 2 weeks ago,
do you have evidence that he has bias against the President?
The American people. So, of course, the White House is fed up with this. Of course, they're going to say, you know what? This same Adam Schiff leaked selective parts of Ambassador Volker's testimony, the special envoy to Ukraine. And if that whole transcript were public, the American people would see that what Ambassador Volker told us is exactly consistent with what the President has said, what President Zelensky has said. But Adam Schiff selectively leaks part of that, and they said, you know what, we're not going to put up with this anymore. We're not going to subject Ambassador Sondland to the same treatment that they gave Ambassador Volker. And frankly, I can't blame him.
Congressman, are you referencing reporting that the whistleblower has a bias against the president or has a relationship with a presidential candidate, or do you have firsthand evidence of that?
Well, I'm referencing what the Inspector General said when he sent the letter to the intelligence community, Director of National Intelligence. I'm referencing that. He said there was an indicia of bias against the president and for a rival political candidate. That's what I'm saying. There's been reporting out there that confirms that. So all I'm referencing is what the Inspector General said. But there's lots of things that have come out in the last day that make this thing look even more suspect, because the complaint was, there's been reporting that says the complaint's on July 25th. Reporting is that the whistleblower went back and did a memo. Someone talked to the whistleblower. The whistleblower does a memo, reporting out there in several publications. And then there's an 18-day time period before that the complaint actually gets filed. So he does a memo where he talks about the frightening and crazy call that took place between President Trump and President Zelensky. Of course, we've seen the call, and it was anything but that. But that's what he says. So if it was so frightening and so crazy, why did this whistleblower wait 18 days to file the complaint? That makes someone wonder. So I think there's lots of questions we have to have. And frankly, we do need to hear more about and know more about this whistleblower if we're ever going to get to the bottom of this. And I think that's the American people deserve that when you think about the impeachment of the guy we elected president.
Sir, give us a sense about what happens next. I think a lot of people watching this are probably, and rightly so, a little confused as to who makes the next move. Who is that, sir?
Well, we're still scheduled to have an interview with former Ambassador Yovanovitch on Friday. So we will see. Right now, the White House has indicated the State Department has indicated they don't want those individuals to come and testify because of this unfair and partisan process.
So she may not be there then on Friday. Okay, so that
scheduled. We don't know.
It takes us to next week. What happens then, do you believe?
Well, I mean, we're going to continue to try to get the facts and figure out more about what took place with this whole complaint when it started, and continue to tell the American people the truth, which is Adam Schiff released the transcript so they can see what Ambassador Volker spent 9 hours telling us, where he said there was no quid pro quo, there was no linkage whatsoever between security assistance dollars for Ukraine and any type of investigation into anyone in Ukraine or any investigation into the Bidens. He was clear about that, reinforced exactly what President Zelensky said when he said, I was not pushed by the administration at all, reinforced exactly what President Trump has said. But Adam Schiff won't release that. Instead, there were 67 pages of text messages. Adam Schiff took a few of those text messages and released them. Release them all.
Got it.
Release them all, and more importantly, release the entire transcript so the American people can see. We're talking about impeaching the President of the United States 13 months before an election based on an anonymous whistleblower with no firsthand knowledge who has a bias against the President, and an investigation being led by Adam Schiff. I mean, the President was willing to release the transcript of the call with the Prime Minister or with President Zelensky. Why won't Adam Schiff release the transcript of the special envoy who testified for 9 hours?
All right. There are new reports that Robert Mueller was indeed back in 2017 when he met with the president seeking the job of the director of the FBI. It is in stark contrast to what we heard from Robert Mueller in this hearing room just a short time ago.
Yeah. No.
My understanding, I was not applying for the job. I was asked to give my input on what it would take to do the job.
That was Robert Mueller testifying in July 2019. So why the difference in what we heard then versus July 2019?
I don't know. Maybe we might have to ask. We might have to ask Bob Mueller again. Here's what I know. This just underscores how important the investigation that Mr. Durham is doing, that Bill Barr has tasked him to do, to get to the origins of how this whole false Trump-Russia accusation started. Never forget, the president is falsely accused of conspiring with Russia to impact the 2016 election. There was a 10-month investigation done by the FBI. After 10 months, Jim Comey tells us there was no, because we deposed Jim Comey, and he said there was nothing. They had nothing at the time. No matter, but Bob Mueller is then hired as special counsel. He does a 22-month investigation. After 22 months, he tells us no conspiracy, no collusion, no coordination. So 32 months of investigation, nothing there. And the Democrats say, well, we're going to keep going after the president. Bill Barr said maybe a better use of our time and taxpayer dollars is to figure out how the whole false accusation started in the first place. And that's exactly what Mr. Durham is doing, and I look forward to the completion of that investigation and the truth getting to the American people.
Well, apparently his investigation is stretching around the world. Do you believe that you will get that resolved?
Yeah.
Within
well, here's
a year?
Why it's stretching around. Yeah, Bill, here's why it's stretching around the world. Remember, the guy who started it all, this guy named Joseph Mifsud, who was hanging out in Rome and London, he's the guy who first tells Papadopoulos Russians have dirt on Clinton. Papadopoulos passes that on to the Australian diplomat, and then the diplomat tells the Justice Department, and Comey opens an investigation based on that. And yet when the FBI interviews Joseph Mifsud in February of 2017, he lies to them 3 times, and they don't do anything. They don't follow up. They don't find him. They don't charge him. Anyone else who made a false statement, the FBI gets charged. Michael Flynn, for goodness sake, a 3-star general, made a false statement to the FBI. He's been in all kinds of has all kinds of legal trouble. So, but the guy who starts it all lies 3 times, and that's in the Mueller report, and they don't do squat about it. So no wonder Durham and Barr are traveling to Italy to figure this out.
As we try and follow the roadmap here, do you believe Durham can finish his work within a year, yes or no?
I hope so, yeah. I think so. I hope so. We do know that
we
Mr.
shall
Horowitz's
see, because you got an election in
soon.
13 months. Another quick question here. Do you believe House Democrats will vote on impeachment, yes or no?
In the end, on articles, it seems like they're headed down that road. Unfortunately, I think they made a decision before they've even looked at the evidence, because there's no evidence to support this. Whether they'll do the formal inquiry and start this process the way they're supposed to, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're going to do it. They continue to make the rules up as they go along.
All right, Congressman Jim Jordan, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Jim Jordan, thank you.